Despite the vast distances and my demanding schedule, I never travel on the Sabbath. And because there aren't any kosher restaurants along the way, I bring all my own food for the long trip. But these stops are welcome. They give me a chance to marvel on God's creation. Once again, I'm on the road. From Graafrenet, I hightail it to Grahamstown, which will be my final stop. The Eastern Cape was home to the 1820 settlers. Perhaps it's not surprising that there were a handful of Jews among those settlers who brought their traditions to this part of the world. Grahamstown at its peak hosted a large Jewish community, but today, unfortunately, there are very few people, Jewish people, left in town. The shul is still ever used by a handful of students that study at Rhodes University.
It's very important for us for the country community rabbi to come. He is our main source of information when it comes to matters dealing with the shul and halachic problems we might have every now and again, as well as a very important source of information on what's happening in the world.
I'm here to help the Jewish students at the university set up and kit out a new meeting place. I've brought you here salad bowls, cutting board, knives, and five. I'm also hoping this little group will inspire others to attend synagogue and to keep their faith strong. On my visits to Grahamstown, I try to reconnect with former mayor Leon Reich. Leon lived in this town for over 35 years. He knows the history of every business on the main street, including which were owned by Jews.
A lot of the shops over here in this area were run by Jews at one time.
Even the High Court was home to many prominent Jewish advocates. Leon himself was a hotel owner, like so many Jews in the country.
This is the Victoria Hotel where I first bought when I came to Grahamstown in 1958. This is how I got here.
Inside the Grahamstown Cathedral is an unusual sight, a plaque commemorating the military bravery of Joshua Davis Norden, a prominent 19th century Jew. As usual, Leon has his own story to tell.
While I was in the hotel business, I used to take tours around the area in order to boost my occupancy in the hotel, and one of the places I always took these tours around was to the cathedral, because it is the place where the city started its growth. It was around the cathedral that the commercial area started, and in the course of one of these tours the bishop kindly took us around the cathedral, and he commented that this was, as far as he knew, the only park to a Jew in any cathedral in the world. And perhaps I should have kept my mouth shut, but I didn't. And I said that as far as I could see, that every cathedral was a memorial to a Jew. And I don't think that went down very well. I didn't gain on the popularity poll. I was just telling you how I became involved in the council and eventually became the mayor of Grahamstown. I bumped into the mayor of the day, and I said to him, you know, you need to encourage young Jewish businessmen between the ages of 30 and 50 to come to Grahamstown. You need 30 to 35 families so that the town starts thinking in terms of earning money. And he said to me, there'll never be a Jewish councillor in this town. And I said, is that so? I've got news for you, mate. He said, what's the news? I said, you're going to have a Jewish mayor. He said, who's that? I said, that's me. I'm going to be your first Jewish mayor. You can't make a racial remark like that to me that I'm a citizen of this town. I pay taxes like everybody else. I'm a good, decent citizen. Like most of the other people in this town, why am I going to be precluded because of my Jewishness? I'm going to show you that if one of us want to become the mayor, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to stop it.
Leon was a popular councillor and mayor, and the townsfolk still appreciate what he achieved. But success took several generations, and Leon's forefathers struggled to gain a foothold.
When my grandfather first came to Cape Town, he was a young boy. When he walked from Cape Town to Grahamstown, he didn't have transport. He carried it on his back and walked from farm to farm. And I mean, he would daven, he would pray every evening and every morning on his own, wherever he found himself, under a tree in the veld, wherever he slept. He prayed in the morning and he prayed in the evening, and he then carried on with his walk from farm to farm.
Times have changed since those pioneering days, but I still make a point of praying with Leon in the gracious old synagogue, which was consecrated in 1913.
You learned your Judaism at home. You learned it from your parents. You learned people ask me about how you learned your Zionism living in the country with the only Jewish family. I said you learned your Zionism from your mother's milk. Passion. That is the point. It's not how much information you have. It's not how many history books you read about the Jewish people and understand who we are. It's the passion that comes from the parents. If you have the passion for Judaism, if you've got the passion for behaving in a proper way because of the Jewish way of life and conducting yourself properly, because Judaism is not a religion per se as other religions are. Judaism is a way of living.
I leave Leon and say goodbye to the country communities I've grown to love and appreciate. Now it's time to return to my own family, from whom I'm so often apart. For me, traveling all these years all alone in the car for many hours across the face of South Africa, knowing that I'm making a difference to people's lives. I'm there for people in a time of need, in a time of joy, in a time of crisis, whatever they require. My pledge when I started 9 years ago was to be available and accessible. And they in turn know that there is somebody out there concerned about them, looking after them. And that for me is very satisfying. And that is what will keep me going into the future.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again.